It's time for high school baseball on the NCW Life Channel. Today's broadcast is presented by Walkabout Grill in Wenatchee and Leavenworth, Global Car Care, Wenatchee's friendly expert audio repair specialist, and Leonard Evans Used Cars Superstore. Now let's head out to the Diamond for all the action with the NCW Life Channel Sports Director, Eric Granstrom.
Well, good afternoon and happy finally Friday. Welcome to Recreation Park here in Wenatchee for today's first game of a doubleheader on the NCW Life Channel featuring the Wenatchee Panthers and the Davis Pirates. I'm Eric Granstrom here at Rec Park. Now, earlier today, we didn't know if we were going to get baseball in or not because it was raining. It's been a very wet spring. Now, that doesn't mean any problems for the infield because that's an artificial surface. The issue is right here in the outfield. This is really soft and really muddy, and so that's going to play into the game today as we have the first of two games live on the NCW Life Channel. It's Davis and Wenatchee. Big Nine Baseball right here. We'll come back with Coach Jeff Zender of the Wenatchee Panthers right after this timeout. Welcome back here on the pregame show as we get ready for the first of two games here today at Recreation Park. Now visiting with Coach Jeff Zender of the Wenatchee Panthers. Well, Coach, you guys had an amazing run last year that fell just shy of a state championship chance, but you guys take third, but you graduated a lot of folks. So tell us about the makeup of this year's Panther squad.
Well, it starts off with two returning seniors with varsity experience. We have 5 seniors total. And then the rest is made up of juniors and sophomores, and we actually have 3 guys on our roster that are freshmen.
Really?
Yeah, so doing some courtesy running and kind of getting out there and kind of mixing up. They're good athletes, so we're expecting them to develop over the course of the next 4 years. So,
well, the fact that you had a senior-laden team, sometimes, well, you got a lot of seniors, but you had a lot of talented seniors on last year's squad. But I hear the JV was pretty darn good, too, so now those guys are getting a chance to play some varsity ball.
Yeah, you know, it makes for good competition with people pushing each other. They're kind of moving up the ladder, and at this point, it comes to what we've seen before. How it happens is who works hardest in the off season and plays summer ball. Just the cream kind of rises to the top, and we are excited as a coaching staff to see what kind of crop we're going to have here in a couple of years.
Well, let's talk about the field conditions. I know it's been a crazy spring for everybody. You guys finally got that game in with Davis yesterday after a couple of rainouts. We had rain this morning, didn't know if we were going to get to go. It's pretty soft out here, Coach.
It is. It is a little soft out here. Fortunately, we have a good playing surface on the infield, and you know, we just obviously got to be a little bit careful out here, but we got to do anything we can to get games in. With a 3-game, we get 3 games a week. We play Tuesdays and Fridays, so if we back this game up to next week, then we're looking at 5 games, and you know, with the new pitching rules and stuff like that, that just wouldn't be feasible. So we got to do whatever we can to get this game in today.
That was my next question for our viewers. That between last year and this year, that'll change as far as the pitching is concerned. It's not about innings; it's about the number of pitches, right?
Right. Yeah. You get I think it's 0 to 30. They don't need any rest, but 30 to 50 they need a day, and then 50 to 75 they need 2 days, and then 75 to 126 they need 3 days rest. So, which is a good thing. You got to manage your pitchers a little bit, you know, and you know, it's the rule is first and foremost it puts the kids at, you know, keeps them safe, and so it's a level playing field for everybody. And the deeper your staff, obviously, the better off you are, but it's best for the kids. So.
It makes it a little interesting playing 3 games in a week, but then also, of course, you come to postseason, that's where it really plays a factor.
Yeah, and hopefully in the postseason, you know, once postseason play hits, you hope that your pitchers are healthy, that can throw 100 pitches and get you through a game. And you know, if you have three good solid guys, 4 guys, that you can make a decent run at it. You know, out of getting out of districts and then going to regional play and then moving on to the end. So it's a fun deal. It's we're looking forward to just doing what we can and seeing where we end up in the end of the year. So. Well,
Zender and I go back quite a ways, and I could see it in his eye, and he could probably see it in my eye. Well, let's get on to some baseball. It's spring. Let's get her done. Coach, have a good game today and good doubleheader.
Hey, thank you. Good to see you.
All right, there you go. Jeff Zender joining us here on the pregame show. We'll take a look at the starting lineups for Game 1 right after this on the NCW Life Channel. Coach Zender is assisted by David Garza, Stephen Tebow, and Gary Llewellyn. As we get ready for baseball here today, live on the NCW Life Channel, talking with the head coach for the Davis Pirates beforehand, Brian Richardson, saying we're going to be live on TV today. He says, do you have that blur mechanism to put over my face? I have some creditors that are after me. The umpires for today's game behind home plate calling balls and strikes will be Clark Wright. We have Sean McNair out on the base paths for the first game of 2, Recreation Park. What are we, season 3 now with the artificial surface in the infield. And then, of course, natural grass in the outfield. And that'll be something that we'll have to keep a close eye on there, especially for Keegan Romig out there in center field. It is awfully wet. Panthers with their white uniforms, the home uniforms trimmed in purple and gold. Davis in their traveling uniforms. They've got the orange tops with the black trim. Pirates written across the chest. Pirates will send up Henry Gargis, Brock Williams, and Isaac Pastrana here to start out against Eddie Hamilton, the man on the mound here for the Wenatchee Panthers, a senior. We're talking with Coach Jeff Zender here before the ball game. After such a senior-laden team a year ago, they still do have quite a few seniors, with 6 on the ball club this year. Dimensions here at Recreation Park, 360 down the left field line. 385 in straightaway center, 295 out and right. So left-handed batter up first, Henry Gargis. And our first pitch of the ball game for the right-hander on the mound is a swing and a foul behind home plate, and we are underway. You love having baseball on the television. Hamilton looks in for the sign from Ronan Hayes, his catcher, and the 0-1 pitch is a little bit low for a ball, and the count evens at a ball and a strike. Hayes sets up a little bit on the outside for this next pitch. It misses outside for ball 2. 2-1 the count to Henry Gargis, center fielder, sophomore for the Davis Pirates. Again, Wenatchee and Davis were scheduled to play earlier this week on a Tuesday with the 2-1 pitch on the way. Swung on and fouled into the backstop behind the Davis dugout. Bounces off. First base coach comes over and retrieves it. And the count evens to Gargis at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Just underway here at Recreation Park in Wenatchee between the Pirates and the Panthers. 2-2 pitch, off-speed pitch, swung on and hit hard to right field. Now let's see how that footing is out there for the right fielder. David Snyder makes the catch, and that is out number 1. That'll bring up the shortstop, sophomore Brock Williams. Taking a look at Davis's lineup, they've got just 5 seniors on the varsity roster and not a single junior. Sophomores and freshmen rest of the way. So youth movement on at Davis High School. Brock Williams steps into the right-handed batter's box, and the first pitch by Hamilton is an off-speed pitch that hits the outside corner for a strike. 0-1 the count. Clark Wright deliberate with his call behind home plate. Outfield playing pretty shallow for this right-handed batter. And the next pitch, fastball misses up and in for ball 1. 1-1 the count on Brock Williams. He'll be followed by the pitcher, Isaac Pastrana, on deck here for Davis. The 1-1 pitch on the way to Williams misses high and away with that fastball. The count now 2 balls and 1 strike. Quite a season for the Panthers a year ago, getting all the way to the semifinals of the state tournament where they fall to the eventual state champions. Next pitch misses low and away for a ball. Evens the count, or excuse me, the count now at 3-1 on Brock Williams. Hamilton ready, and the 3-1 pitch, check swing, fouled at the plate, and the count now runs full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Games around the Big 9 today had to be scrubbed because of weather. West Valley was supposed to be hosting Moses Lake in a Twinville. That one got rained out today. This pitch swung on and popped up foul territory, and this one's going to get out of play. And the count remains at 3 balls and 2 strikes on Brock Williams. Eastmont on the road at Eisenhower today for a Twinville. That one underway. There was no game scheduled for tomorrow, so had this one been rained out, they would have had space here at Rec Park to play it tomorrow, but want to get it in when you can. This ball swung on and grounded to the third baseman. On his knee is Peters. The throw across in time for the out. Nice play by Bryce Peters. 5-3 on the putout. 2 down here in the first. And that brings up Isaac Pastrana.
Number 2, Isaac Pastrana.
Wenatchee coming in with a record of 1-2 on the season. Davis 0-3 after falling to Kennedy Catholic in their opener. This pitch swung on and grounded right to the shortstop. That's Ben McKay, and his throw a little bit low, but a nice dig over there at first base by Seth Storley. And it's a 1-2-3 story for Davis in the top of the first. We'll head to the bottom with Wenatchee due up. You're watching baseball here today on the NCAA Live Channel. We'll be back after this 60-second timeout. Heading to the bottom of the first after a 1-2-3 story for Davis in the top half of the inning. Eric Granstrom with you here at Rec Park today. We've got Uriah Darby and Dan Kuntz out in the Apple Bowl filming this one today. Oh, I messed it up. First billing. Forgot about that. As we head to the bottom of the first inning, the Panthers will bring out Ben McKay, Mikey Thomas, and Seth Storley. That's the lineup due up here for Coach Jeff Zender. We're talking about the teams coming into the season, early season so far, and we've had quite a bit of problems with rain and weather. Wenatchee, the baseball team had to practice over at the Apple Bowl here a few weeks ago because snow still existing here at Recreation Park. Now, that snow melt in the outfield has a lot to do with the dampness out there, but so too has the rains here over the past several days. So to the bottom of the second we go. Ben McKay up first in the right-handed batter's box facing Isaac Pastrana. Right-hander on the mound for Davis. And the wind and delivery on the first pitch is a little high for ball one. 1-0 the count to the shortstop for the Wenatchee Panthers. Ben McKay, senior, takes the next pitch for a strike. Evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Busy weekend of sports here in the Wenatchee Valley. Chance to watch some basketball tomorrow at Eastmont. This pitch swung on and check swing might drop in for a base hit. It will in front of the right fielder Dakota Doan. He had no chance of that one. It's kind of a check swing to the right side by Ben McKay. He'll take it for a base hit, and Wenatchee in business here early against Davis. That'll bring up left fielder Mikey Thomas. Thomas also a senior in the lineup here for Coach Jeff Zender. And we'll see if Coach puts the game in motion with McKay. A lot of speed over there at first base. Scoreless game, bottom of the first. Wenatchee and Davis working from the stretch now. Pastrana and a slide step towards the plate. The delivery's a little low and inside for a ball. 1-0 the count to Mikey Thomas. Seth Storley waiting on deck. Panthers able to get a 10-run win yesterday against Davis down at Yakima, and a throw over to first base is not in time. Back diving safely is Ben McKay. This artificial surface here, that brown you see on the television is not dirt. That's actually that artificial grass, that turf. This pitch swung on and missed. Fooled him with an off-speed pitch, did Pastrana, and the count evens to Thomas and a ball on the strike. So the typical situation on a dive back to the bag at first base, you'd see the runner over there come up with a bunch of dirt on his white uniform, and a delayed steal attempt, throw down to second base, not in time. Stolen base for Ben McKay. Little delayed steal out there. Ball came skipping into the catcher, Zach Valencia. His throw down, pretty decent throw, but just a little bit behind the speedy Ben McKay out there. So a stolen base, and the count now 2-1 on Thomas. And the Panthers with a runner in scoring position here and the bottom of the first. Pastrana checks the runner. The pitch to the plate, swung on and chopped foul on the third base side. Evens the count to Thomas at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Davis in their opening game of the season falling to Kennedy Catholic 13-2. They lost to Kamiak 14-4, and yesterday to Wenatchee 12-2. This pitch inside almost hit the batter. And Thomas turns away from that one, shows the number 22 out to our cameras at center field. And the count goes to 3-2. Short lead out at second for McKay. Pastrana again with that staggered stance on the mound, looking back at him, and the pitch is high. And that'll put 2 aboard here for Wenatchee with nobody out, and that brings up first baseman Seth Storley. Wenatchee on the season so far already has lost more games than they did all of last season. Falling to Richland in the opener 6-1. The Panthers then fell to Sumner 12-1. before picking up their first win of the season yesterday at Davis 12-2. First pitch is taken by Sorley. Strike on the outside corner. A little bender there from Isaac Pastrana. And a count 0-1 on Seth Storley. McKay at second, Thomas at first. This pitch swung on and lifted in the air to right field. Long run for the right fielder in foul territory, and that one's going to go down towards the bullpen area there. And a count 0-2 now on Storley. No runs, no hits, no errors for Davis. No runs, one hit, and no errors for Wenatchee so far. That's how the scoreboard should read, with a count 0-2 on Storley. Pastrana again checked back at the second base bag. This pitch swung on, lifted in the air to left field. Should be a play for Diego Sosa out there, and he'll make it just a couple of steps to the right to the foul line. And the fly ball out. The runners stay, and the one down brings up center fielder Keegan Romig.
Bat as a center fielder. Your name,
F7 on the out for Storley to left field. Little bit of a hint of a breeze now blowing from left to right across the diamond here at Recreation Park. Romig stands in, big, tall, right-handed batter. The first pitch to him is a little high and inside for ball one. So Wenatchee now playing in league play here in the Columbia Basin Big Nine. This pitch is a strike taken on the inside corner. Romig thought about pulling the trigger on a swing there, but decided not to. Count even to Romig at 1 and 1 strike. Panthers with runners on, 1 down here in the bottom of the first. The 1-1 pitch, another strike call on the inside corner. Boy, that's a generous strike inside. A lot of talk amongst the infielders for the Davis Pirates as Brock Williams, the shortstop, keeps the runner out there, McKay. The pitch swung on and grounded right to the shortstop. Double play chance to 2 for 1. They throw to first, and it is in time. And they don't need the play at home because the double play out on the field. No run will score, and that'll do it for Wenatchee here in the bottom of the first. So they get a couple of runners aboard, but aren't able to score. We'll head to the second, scoreless between Davis and Wenatchee. We're back after the 60-second timeout. To the top of the second we go. Kobe Cup, Diego Sosa, and Jaden Martinez due up here for the Davis Pirates in a scoreless contest. Wenatchee with a big chance in that first inning, but a double play ball off the bat of Keegan Romig, and a nice job by Davis's defense. Brock Williams to Gabe De Jesus and Jaden Martinez to turn the pitcher's best friend. So to the second we go, scoreless contest. Appreciate you joining us here on the NCW Life Channel, and our sponsors, Walkabout Grill in Wenatchee and Leavenworth. Take a walk on the wild side. Kobe Cup steps in from the left side, and the first pitch to him by Eddie Hamilton is a little bit high and inside for ball one. 1-0 the count on the senior from Davis. Pirates still looking for their first hit of the ball game against Hamilton. This pitch low for a ball. 2-0 the count. They've got some great baseball names on this team, does the Davis Pirates. Pastrana and Sosa and Martinez and De Jesus. This pitch is an off-speed pitch in there for a strike. Nice job by Eddie Hamilton to take a little bit off there to find the strike zone. 2-1 the count to Cup. And the pitch swung on and fouled back behind the plate. Evens the count at 2 and 2 strikes. Clouds parting in time for this baseball game. We had overcast and rain through much of the early part of the day, but looks like this afternoon going to be nice and sunny. Curveball didn't quite curve for Hamilton on that pitch, so the count runs full now. 2 Cup at 3 and 2 strikes. This pitch swung on and hit on 2 hops right to the shortstop. Nice play by McKay. The throw across in time for the out. So another ground ball out here for the Davis Pirates brings up left fielder Diego Sosa. Sports broadcasts on the NCW Life Channel also brought to you by Leonard Evans Used Car Superstore, where the name means a great deal. And welcome aboard Global Car Care, Wenatchee's friendly expert auto repair specialists. The first pitch to Sosa misses high with a fastball from Hamilton. 1-0 the count to Diego Sosa, second man up here in the second
For Davis, steps in the right-handed batter's box, slowly wags that bat around. The 1-0 pitch, also a fastball, also missing inside. The count 2-0. Outfield playing fairly shallow. This pitch swung on and missed. Boy, fooled him on that one. Way out in front of it was Diego Sosa, and the count goes to 2-1 strike. Jade Martinez waiting on deck. One out here in the top of the second. This pitch swung on and missed, and again, he fooled him. Took a little bit off of that pitch. Count evens at 2 strikes. Small gathering of folks here at the Recreation Park, and this pitch taken and a strike called. That wide strike zone by the home plate umpire Clark Wright costs Diego Sosa. Thought that ball missed, but a strikeout looking. So 2 down here in the second brings up the first baseman Jaden Martinez.
Number 12, Jaden Martinez.
Hamilton handling the Davis lineup here so far. 5 up, 5 down. And the pitch to Martinez. Fastball missing just away for ball 1. Historic Recreation Park. It has undergone some changes over the years, not many. Pitch misses outside for ball 2. 2-0 the count to Martinez. Former location for the Wenatchee Chiefs. This pitch swung on and missed, and behind that one was Martinez, and the count goes to 2-1. Bob Robertson, the longtime voice of the Washington State Cougars, used to work for KPQ Radio here in town and broadcast the Wenatchee Chiefs games here at Recreation Park. Last pitch missed away, so the count 3-1 to Martinez. Hamilton with the 3-1 pitch, swung on and missed, and the count runs full at 3-2. So the third of the 6 batters that Hamilton has faced so far gone to a full count. Right-hander gets the sign, and the 3-2 delivery on the way. Swung on and lifted into shallow center. This could be trouble, and it will drop in for a base hit and then plunk out there in the soft surface. Long run for Keegan Romig. Ben McKay and Dalton Thomas were chasing out from the infield to try to get to it, but Davis able to collect its first hit of the ballgame on a bloop single by Jaden Martinez.
Number 5.
So the Pirates have their first runner aboard. That'll bring up the second baseman, Gabe DeJesus. DeJesus is a freshman out there playing on the varsity. For Davis. Takes the first pitch outside the strike zone, 1-0. Hamilton working from the stretch for the first time. And the 1-0 pitch swung on and chopped off the plate. The catcher comes out, then the ball takes a little hop with lots of English on it and skips off of that turf in front of home plate and bites back in foul territory. So they'll send Martinez back to first and have DeJesus come back and grab his bat and face a 1-1 count to Eddie Hamilton. Hamilton leans in on that gloved hand on his thigh, gets the sign, and the 1-1 pitch is a little high and inside for ball 2. Bob Robertson told me years ago that they'd have a doubleheader for the Chiefs here at the stadium, and in between the games, Bob would go up on top of the roof at Recreation Park here and sunbathe. This pitch swung on a grounder right back to the pitcher. Nice play by Hamilton. He'll run half the way and then toss over to first base in time to get the out. So Davis retired here in the second. They do get a runner aboard on a base hit to man left. We'll head to the bottom of the second. Still scoreless between Wenatchee and Davis. You're watching Panther Baseball on the NCW Life Channel.
Local high school sports is brought to you by Neal's Family Shoes and Repair, bringing you White's, a Spokane-made all-leather Legend boot. Buy 5 pairs of Cool Max socks, get the 6th free. AC Checker Taxi Cab, fast, friendly, reliable, serving all of North Central Washington. AC Checker Taxi, the classiest taxi cabs in the industry. And Quick Lube and Tune, quality workmanship from oil changes to computer diagnostics. Quick Lube and Tune, home of the good guys, open Sunday through Friday.
Does that camera look better now?
Walkabout Grill, open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner in downtown Wenatchee and now downtown Leavenworth, where eating out is eating healthy.
There we go to the bottom of the second inning. It'll be Ronan Haynes, Bryce Peters, and David Snyder due up here for the Wenatchee Panthers to face Isaac Pastrana in a scoreless contest so far. First in of a doubleheader here at Rec Park. This pitch inside close enough, and it just caught the sleeve of the uniform of Ronan Hayes. So he's aboard, hit by a pitch. So for the second inning in a row, the Panthers have the leadoff man aboard.
Number 5, Bryce Peters.
We're going to get a courtesy runner to come out and run for Haynes. That'll be Shane Huffaker. So Huffaker out there to run. At first base for the Panthers, Coach Jeff Zender going through a myriad of signs over there in the third base coach's box as Peters now climbs into the right-handed batter's box and awaits the delivery from Pastrana, squares around a bunt, then pulls the bat back, and then hits it off the glove of the third baseman. Shortstop over, will field and throw, and not in time. Got to give Bryce Peters maybe a base hit on that one. Fooled the third baseman, Kobe Cup. He came in thinking bunt all the way, and then he pulled the bat back. Swung hard at it, and not much Cup could do there. Diving for it to his left. Ball goes off his glove, glancing to the shortstop, Brock Williams. By the time Williams came up with it, his throw to first base not in time. So runners at first and second here for the Panthers, and David Snyder will square around a bunt and take the pitch high and inside for ball one. Right fielder in the batter's box here for Wenatchee after looking down at Coach Jeff Zender for the signs. Huffaker with the lead out at second, and they almost picked him off. Nice turn and move by the pitcher, Pastrana, through to the shortstop, Williams. Scooting in behind Huffaker out there. And Huffaker gets back just in time. Now regains his lead with a count 1-0 on David Snyder. See if Snyder squares the bunt again. Nobody down here, bottom of the second. Curveball misses. No, it's going to say strike one. 1-1 to count on Snyder. Eddie Hamilton waiting on deck here for the Panthers, trying to scratch across their first run. Bunting attempt and fouling it off is Snyder. So the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes. Wenatchee Panthers starting the 2017 campaign as one of the favored teams in the Big Nine after going 24-1 a season ago, winning the regular season championship. This pitch is another bunt attempt and missing on the attempt. The home plate umpire says you're out on a strikeout. And a throw down to second base, not in time to get Huffaker out there. So our first out of the inning is a strikeout to Snyder, and that'll bring up the pitcher, Eddie Hamilton. Hamilton really crowding the home plate with 2 aboard, and the first pitch high and inside as he bends away from that one, and the count 1-0 on Hamilton. But Wenatchee, pretty good run here as they head into their 3rd season, one of the favorite in the Big Nine after winning everything last year. Wenatchee in 2015 went 19-3 on the season, finishing in first place in the Big Nine as well. 2-0 quickly the count to Hamilton. Runners with their leads, and the 2-0 pitch on the way to the plate, high and outside for a ball. 3-0. Ronan Haynes started off the inning, hit by a pitch. Shane Huffaker came in to run for him. He's now down at second after Bryce Peters got aboard on an infield single. This pitch taken all the way for a strike, and the count goes to 3-1. David Snyder trying to bunt with 2 strikes on him. Missed on the bunt attempt, and a strikeout called by the home plate umpire. So 1 down, 2 on, no score, and the 3-1 pitch to Hamilton. Swing and a miss. And the count runs full at 3-2. So the second batter of the ball game that Isaac Pastrana has gone full to. As we're in the bottom of the second, scoreless. This pitch swung on and missed. Nice fastball high and away. Chasing after it was Hamilton. And after allowing the first two men aboard, Pastrana bearing down out there, getting a couple of strikeouts, and that'll bring up second baseman Dalton Thomas. So the Panthers will have to do it the old-fashioned way here and earn it in this bottom of the second. Thomas steps in, and the pitch from Pastrana, low and inside. 1-0 the count. No runs, 2 hits for Davis. No runs, 1 hit for Wenatchee. That's your scoreboard right now. The 1-0 pitch on the way to Thomas is a little bit high for a ball, 2-0. Have to check with Mr. Murtaugh next door on the official scoring. The scoreboard out there still does not register a hit. They didn't put an error down either, so this pitch misses a little high as well. So quickly 3-0 on Dalton Thomas. So a couple of batters in a row that Pastrana has run a 3-ball count to. Huffaker at second. Peters at first, and the 3-0 pitch is taken all the way for a strike, and a count at 3-1. As mentioning busy weekend in sports. Tomorrow is the Wenatchee Central Lions Club All-Star basketball game happening at Eastmont High School. This pitch swung on and a line drive right to the second baseman. They're going to say he did field it on the hop, did Gabe DeJesus. And so that'll do it for Wenatchee here in the second. They get a couple aboard. They leave 2. We'll head to the third. Still scoreless between the Panthers and Pirates. You're watching Wenatchee Baseball on the NCW Life Channel.
Hi, my car's making a funny noise.
Not a problem. We'll take care of you.
Global Car Care's technicians are ASE Master Techs and well versed in the more refined methods of vehicular diagnostics.
Number 3 piston and rings have a slight loss of compression, down to 108 pounds. Your transmission is slipping. You're gonna need a service.
Looks like you all set.
These guys? They're good.
Oh, and your spare is flat.
Global Car Care, Wenatchee's top shop.
Tax time is car time. We know how important your tax refund is. Leonard Evans says keep it where it belongs, in your pocket. Because at Leonard Evans, you don't need any cash. No money down delivers any vehicle. Plus, there's no payments for 90 days. And get financing as low as 1.74%. Everybody knows we service what we sell at the Leonard Evans Used Car Superstore. Corner of Maple Street and North Wenatchee Avenue in Wenatchee, and always at LeonardEvansCars.com. Leonard Evans, where the name means a great deal.
Scheduled for 7 innings here at Recreation Park for the first inning of this doubleheader. We are headed to the third right now, still in a scoreless game, and up first for the Davis Pirates. In this half of the third inning, it'll be right fielder Dakota Doan. That'll be followed by catcher Zach Valencia. And then back to the top of the order for center fielder Henry Gargas. First pitch on the way to the plate by Andy Hamilton. Nice fastball across the knees for a strike to Dakota Doan. And a count 0-1. They did give Peters a base hit, so 2 hits on the ledger for Wenatchee, 1 hit for Davis. Zeros the rest of the way, and a swing and a miss by Doan here on the second pitch of the inning, and the count quickly runs to 0-2. Hamilton quickly working on the mound, and the 0-2 pitch on the way. Curveball, strike 3 called. Gone looking is Dakota Doan for the first out of the third. That's the second strikeout of the ball game for Eddie Hamilton, and that'll bring up the center fielder Zach Valencia. Or excuse me, the catcher, Zach Valencia.
Zach Valencia.
First pitch by Hamilton to Valencia, swung on and missed way outside on that pitch. 0-1 the count. Sports on the NCW Life Channel. Local to you by AC Checker Taxi Cab, Neil's Boots and Shoes, and Quick Lube in tune. This pitch swung on and missed. Out in front of that off-speed pitch was Valencia, and the count quickly 0-2. Nothing but strikes here by Eddie Hamilton in this third as he settled into a nice groove. The 0-2 pitch to Valencia on the way. Fastball misses just away, and the count at ball and 2 strikes. Hamilton ready with the 1-2 pitch. Strike 3 called. Second strikeout looking in a row. Third strikeout of the ball game for Eddie Hamilton. And 2 outs back to the top of the order for center fielder Henry Gargas.
That is the center fielder, number 17, Henry Gargas.
Gargas with a fly out to right in the first. 0 for 1 on the day so far. And the pitch by Hamilton is a little low for a ball. Wenatchee Central Lions Club hosting their 20th annual All-Star basketball game tomorrow at Eastmont High School. The girls play at 7, the boys at 8:30. You want to see those talented seniors throughout North Central Washington one more time? Be sure and be there at Eastmont High School tomorrow for that one. Tony Esquivel, Luke Worley going to play for the Wenatchee Panthers in that contest. Pitch here high and inside for a ball. And the count to Gargis, 3-0. It was a 2-2 count back in the first for Gargis when he flew one out to right fielder David Snyder. 3-0 count here, and the pitch by Hamilton low and bounces in. And so a 4-pitch walk issued to Gargis. So 2 strikeouts back to back and then a 4-pitch walk. That'll bring up the shortstop, Brock Williams. Williams grounded out to Bryce Peters back in the first. Toss over to the bag at first and not in time to get Gargis on the leadoff. 1 on, 2 out, scoreless, top of the third inning here at Recreation Park. The pitch swung on and hit on a hop right to the third baseman, and a little high on the throw, sails over the dugout or goes and hits the fence, and that's going to advance everybody another 90 feet as the throw from Peters way too high for Seth Storley over there, so an error going to be charged on the throw. And runners will advance as Gargis goes over to third base. Williams at second, so Davis with a 2-out scoring chance here in the top of the third. Peters had plenty of time over there at third base on a ball hit sharply to him, but the throw just way too high for Storley over at first base. So 2 on, 2 out, and Pastrana steps up. His pitch swung on and grounded right to the shortstop, and making quick work of that is Ben McKay, and keeps anybody from scoring, and that will do it here for the top half of the third. So Davis gets a couple aboard. They leave 2. We'll head to the bottom of the third. Still no score between the Pirates and Panthers. You're watching Wenatchee Baseball on the NCW Life Channel.
Local high school sports is brought to you by Neal's Family Shoes and Repair, bringing you White's, a Spokane-made all-leather Legend boot. Buy 5 pairs of Cool Max socks, get the 6th free. AC Checker Taxi Cab, fast, friendly, reliable, serving all of North Central Washington. AC Checker Taxi, the classiest taxi cabs in the industry. And Quick Lube and Tune, quality workmanship from oil changes to computer diagnostics. Quick Lube and Tune, home of the good guys, open Sunday through Friday.
Walkabout Grill, open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner in downtown Wenatchee and now downtown Leavenworth, where eating out is eating healthy.
All right, I'm back to where I was.
Scoreless ball game as we head to the bottom of the third here at Recreation Park, and back to the top of the order for the Wenatchee Panthers. Ben McKay, Mikey Thomas, and Seth Storley due up here for Wenatchee in their half of the third. Sports on the NCW Life Channel brought to you by Global Car Care, Wenatchee's friendly expert auto repair specialists. Also Leonard Evans Used Car Superstore, where the name means a great deal, and Walkabout Grill in Wenatchee and Leavenworth. Take a walk on the wild side. So Ben McKay will step up here to lead off the third inning here for the Wenatchee Panthers. Back in the first, he had a kind of a check swing single to right. So he's 1 for 1 on the afternoon so far. And the first pitch on the way to him is high for ball 1. Right fielder Dakota Doan playing over, shading a little bit to right after that ball came to him in the first inning of play. The pitch here a little low to McKay. Count goes to 2-0. McKay, once he got aboard, stole a base, but was stranded out at second base for Wenatchee in the first. This pitch low and inside for ball 3. 3-0 the count. Third baseman Kobe Cup playing just about a step off of the infield turf grass, the green, here at Recreation Park. Taking some off is Pastrana on the next pitch and able to get it in for a strike. 3 balls, 1 strike. Appreciate you watching baseball here this afternoon on this Friday in the Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life Channel. The 3-1 pitch to McKay swung on, and a sky-high pop-up to the right side. Who's going to get it? It's in foul territory. Diving play by the second baseman. Comes up with it, Gabe De Jesus. How about that play? The freshman, second baseman, ranging all the way behind first base in foul territory, able to make the catch for the out. So 1 out here in the third, and that'll bring up left fielder Mikey Thomas. Thomas walked on a full count pitch back in the first, and the first pitch to him here bounces in for a ball. 1-0 the count. Coach Jeff Zender, I mentioned in the pregame, he and I go back a long way. This pitch swung on and fouled right into the dugout for Wenatchee. And Ben McKay bare hands the ball. They bring it back in for the home plate umpire, Clark Wright. 1-1 to count to Mikey Thomas. But way back when I had my outdoor show, Jeff Zender is a guide in his free time. I don't know if he still does it or not. I think he does. This pitch swung on and fisted out to shallow right field, and that's going to be a diving attempt by the right fielder, but he can't come up with it. Rounding first, heading for second, and a heads-up play out there on the base paths for Mikey Thomas, and give him a single, and then moves to second as the right fielder dove for it. Dakota Doan couldn't come up with it. So a base hit and an extra base for Thomas. He stands out there in scoring position here for Seth Storley with 1 out in the third. With Jeff, a goose and duck guide here locally. First pitch to Storley misses inside low. The runner from second scampers down to third. And I think they might call that a pass ball. Ball was a little low. Valencia just couldn't find it. And a heads-up play by Thomas as he scoots down to third base. So a runner at third for Wenatchee. Chance to put a run on the board here with a fly ball from Storley. Pitch swung on and grounded up the third baseline, and that's going to go foul. And they count 1-1 on Seth Storley. But I got to know Jeff through a mutual acquaintance, and he said, hey, anytime you want to come out duck hunting, let's bring the audio gear. Let's record an episode of The Great Outdoors out on the boat. So we did, and boy, was that fun. The 1-1 pitch to Storley swung on a ground ball, sharply hit to the shortstop, fumbled it, picks it up, now throws to first base, and it's in time for the out. But Wenatchee does score a run as Thomas comes home on the play, and Wenatchee leads it 1-0. So give an RBI to Storley, 6-3 on the putout, 2 outs here in the third, and that'll bring up center fielder Keegan Romig. Romig, 0 for 1, hit into a double play back in the first on a ground ball to Brock Williams, who just handled that one from Seth Storley. This pitch swung on and fouled up the third baseline just outside the coach's box, and the count 0-1 on Keegan Romig. But the early morning hours on a Saturday way back when in the wintertime, Jeff Zender and I spent a whole day out on a boat near Turtle Rock, shooting up some ducks and geese and having a good time. So we go way back. Counts even on Romig now, 1 ball and 1 strike. The pitch from Pastrana is swung on and missed, and the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nice pitch there by Isaac Pastrana. Well, the sun's out, and you get later in the season, and the fans here at Direct Park will head over to the shade on games like this. Right now, they're in the sunshine. They need the heat. This pitch high and inside, and the count evens to Romig at 2 balls and 2 strikes. It is bright, I will give you that. Some folks wearing the Panther baseball hats. Some have their sunglasses, and some having to fight that sunshine. The 2-2 pitch to Romig is inside, missing for ball 3. Recreation Park here on Rondo Street in Wenatchee. The Wenatchee City pool out in the distance beyond the left field wall. Here comes the 3-2 pitch to Romig, low and inside for a ball. And so he's issued a 2-out walk here in the third, and that'll bring up catcher Ronan Haynes. Haynes was hit by a pitch in the second to start off the inning.
Number 25, Ronan Haynes.
Shane Huffaker came in and ran for him. Got as far as second, but that was it. But Wenatchee finally scratching across a run here in the third as they lead it 1-0 over Davis. So the scoreboard 0-1-0 for Davis, 1-3-1 for Wenatchee. And the toss over to the bag at first. Ball got away from Martinez over there, but didn't go very far on the dive back to the bag by Romick. Haynes back in the left-handed batter's box, waiting for the pitch from Isaac Pastrana to come his way. Swung on and chopped on the ground towards the second baseman, and right there is De Jesus. And he'll flip over to the bag at first in time for the outs. But Wenatchee does get a run on a hit. They leave a man. We'll head to the fourth inning of play. Wenatchee on top of Davis, 1-0. You're watching Panther Baseball on the NCW Life Channel. Eisenhower tonight at the Apple Bowl. That starts at 7. First pitch here in the top of the fourth. Misses outside from Eddie Hamilton to Kobe Cup. 1-0 that counts. Cup grounded out to the shortstop back in the second. He's 0 for 1. This pitch misses just away. No, strike called. Well, one thing's for sure, Clark Wright being very consistent on that pitch on the left side of the plate. As I look at it here, as you see it at home, the right side of the plate. And the pitch here is a little low and inside. The ball 2-1 to count on Kobe Cup. He'll be followed by left fielder Diego Sosa and first baseman Jaden Martinez in the fourth for Davis. This pitch swung on. That's going to drop in for a base hit as it dies in the grass in the outfield there. Awfully soggy in that outfield. Keegan Romig fields it and throws it back in, but a leadoff base hit, second hit of the ball game for Davis. Sharply struck there by Kobe Cup. And Davis in business here at the top of the fourth, brings up left fielder Diego Sosa. And after they bring that ball in, I think it might have a chunk of mud on it from being out there in center field. And Clark Wright does wipe the mud off of it on the artificial surface around home plate. A little conversation here between head coach Brian Richardson and the next batter, Diego Sosa, on what to do with a runner aboard. Again, a young club for Coach Richardson. Toss over to the bag at first, not in time. With Kobe Cup out there at first base. First pitch, a little low. Skips away from Ronan Haynes, but he keeps it in front of him. Good job by the catcher. And the count 1-0 on Diego Sosa. Sosa, a sophomore for Coach Richardson. In the right-handed batter's box, crowding that plate and squaring the bunt. Here comes the third baseman, pulls the bat back, swings and misses, and the count even at a ball and a strike. Bryce Peters, third base, coming in for Wenatchee, crashing as he's turned around a bunt. I'll see if they go over to first base. Cup with a short lead over there. The pitch to the plate swung on a fly ball. Hit hard to left field, but backing up on it, making the play is Mikey Thomas. He'll make the catch for the outs. And holding it first is Kobe Cup. One out here in the fourth. Brings up first baseman Jaden Martinez. Martinez with a bloop single in his first at bat back in the second. He's 1 for 1 on the day. Cup aboard at first with the leadoff single. Now one down as Martinez steps in. Pitch to the plate, swung on. Fly ball in the gap between left and center, but ranging to his left is Mikey Thomas. Able to make the catch. Now to throw it into first base, and they did not get him. The player at first, Seth Storley, first baseman, pulled off the bag a little bit on the relay from outfield.
That is the second baseman.
They almost doubled up Kobe Cup on the play. He thought maybe that ball was going to drop down in the gap, as I did when it first left the bat of Jaden Martinez. But the out recorded, 2 down with 1 on, and Gabe De Jesus steps in. Pitch a little bit high from Hamilton. 1-0 the count. Hamilton working from the stretch in the 1-0 pitch, swung on and fouled back, and the count even at 1-1. No runs, 2 hits, no errors for Davis. 1 run, 3 hits, and 1 error for Wenatchee here in this game so far. We're in the top of the 4th. Panthers on top 1-0. And the pitch to the plate high with a fastball. 2-1 to Gabe De Jesus. How many times you see it where a player makes a fantastic play defensively and then has a chance the next inning to come up offensively and make a play. The pitch, De Jesus swung on and popped up to the right side of the infield. And Dalton Thomas there to make the play. And that will be it for Davis. So they get a runner aboard on a base hit. They leave a man. We'll head to the bottom of the 4th. Wenatchee 1, Davis nothing. You're watching Panther Baseball on the NCW Life Channel. But to the bottom of the 4th, Wenatchee on top 1-0. Bryce Peters will lead it off here for Wenatchee. Peters faked the bunt, pulled the bat back, and hit it off the third baseman's glove back in the 2nd inning. First pitch he takes for a ball. 1-0 the count on Peters. He'll be followed by David Snyder and Eddie Hamilton here in the 4th. For the Wenatchee Panthers on top 1-0. 1-0 pitch to the plate is a strike, and the count even at 1-1. Isaac Pastrana still working on the mound here for Davis. Next pitch misses low. 2-1 the count. So Dakota Doan was out there in right field. I do not believe that is him anymore. And if it is number 4, Jeffrey Edgar would be the man in right. This pitch swung on and on a hop past the shortstop. Skips into left field. We'll see how they score that one. It should have been an easy play for Brock Williams. I think they're going to get an error on the shortstop on a ball that just took just a big hop off that artificial surface, bounced up over his left shoulder into left center field.
Number 10, David Snyder.
So they did mark it as an error. That'll bring up right fielder David Snyder. Snyder 0 for 1 with a strikeout back in the 2nd. Peters with the lead at first and squaring the bunt. Taking the pitch high for a ball is Snyder. Holding it first is Peters. 1-0 the count on David Snyder. Snyder stays in there. Pastrana looking in for the sign from his catcher, Zach Valencia. Now he's going to toss over to the bag at first and chase Peters back to the bag. One and 0 the count on Snyder. Pretty good lead over there at first by Peters. As he'll run, the pitch is high. The throw down to second base goes wide of the bag, and easily in with a stolen base is Bryce Peters. Got a great jump just as Pastrana was coming to the plate. And Peters easily into second base with the stolen base. So a runner in scoring position for Wenatchee. And a 2-0 count on Snyder. And a pitch missing for ball 3. First baseman Jade Martinez cheating in, squaring the bunt again. The third base side is the bunt, but foul territory as it was laid down by Snyder. And the count now goes to 3 balls and 1 strike. Our broadcast schedule here on the NCW Life Channel continues tomorrow with Richland and Wenatchee Valley Lacrosse at the Apple Bowl. We'll be there live for that 1 o'clock tomorrow right here on the NCW Life Channel. Then tomorrow night at 7, it is Sunnyside and Wenatchee Soccer. This pitch is a bunt attempt up the third baseline. Nice bunt. Pitcher off the mound will field and throw, and off the bag was the first baseman. So no play and an infield single on the bunt. And down to third goes Bryce Peters. So a bunt single for David Snyder. That'll bring up the pitcher, Eddie Hamilton.
Number 9, Eddie Hamilton.
Catcher Zach Valencia comes from behind home plate to signal to the infield what he wants to do here. With 2 on and nobody out, golden opportunity for the Wenatchee Panthers. Hamilton struck out swinging in the second. First pitch, bunt attempt right back to the mound. He slipped coming out of the box, and the pitcher fields and has to wait for the second baseman, Gabe DeJesus, to come over there and cover the bag. Throws in time, but down to second goes Snyder on the play. Peters holds at third, and one out for Wenatchee. So 1-4 on the putout. That'll bring up second baseman Dalton Thomas. Thomas lined out to the second baseman. Infield drawn in all the way around to try to keep a run from scoring. And the pitch on the way from Pastrana misses low and away for ball one. Nice stop by the catcher, Valencia. So the infield drawn in to the edge of the green, of the turf here at Recreation Park. Pastrana worked from the windup in the first pitch. The second one, he works from the stretch. This pitch low, bouncing around home plate. Count goes to 2-0. Isaac Pastrana, one of the few seniors on the ball club before the Davis Pirates. In a sticky situation here with two in scoring position, one down, and the pitch to the plate is taken for a strike, and the count goes to 2-1. Just a very hint of a breeze blowing in from left field. The pitch to the plate bounces in again. Nice stop by Valencia, and the count now runs to 3-1 with first base open. Wouldn't be such a bad thing for Davis if they walk Thomas. Although Ben McKay waiting on deck, who's 1 for 2 in the ball game so far. Pastrana kind of wriggling that right arm as he looks in for the sign, and here comes a 3-1 pitch. It's an off-speed pitch in for a strike, and the count goes to full 3-2 on Dalton Thomas. Number 9 batter in the order for the Wenatchee Panthers. Wenatchee on top, 1-0. 4 hits for the Panthers, 2 hits for Davis, both teams with an error. An error coming here in the fourth on the Pirates. And the 3-2 pitch, low and inside for a ball, so the bases are jammed for Ben McKay. Peters at third, Snyder at second, Thomas now at first, and back to the top of the order for the Panthers for Ben McKay. The shortstop 1 for 2 on the day, single to right in the first on kind of a check swing, and then popped up to the shortstop in the third. Low and outside, taking for ball one is McKay. Nobody warming up that I can see anyway for Davis behind Isaac Pastrana. 1-0 ball game, 1 out. Davis, if they could turn the double play, would get out of the inning. Infield back now. And the 1-0 pitch low and outside for a ball, 2-0 the count. Pastrana, after that pitch came in towards home plate. Valencia moving to the first base side to field the ball after it skipped in. Pastrana had a big smile on his face, kind of apologetically looking at his catcher. Now we got a timeout called, and a balk is called. So a run will score on a balk off of the pitcher. So Bryce Peters comes home and scores. Snyder moves down to third base. Dalton Thomas at second. And now the head coach, Brian Richardson, going to come out and talk with Isaac Pastrana. Kind of lost his focus there for a moment. Hesitated on his delivery to the plate after looking around at the base paths, and the balk called and timeout called. So Wenatchee now up 2-0 over Davis, and still with the potential here in the bottom of the fourth. And a 2-0 count on Ben McKay. 2 runs, 4 hits, 1 error for Wenatchee. No runs, 2 hits, 1 error for Davis. 2-0 count on Ben McKay. So the conversation on the mound now complete. Everybody back and ready. And the pitch to the plate is in for a strike. Nice fastball there from Pastrana, and the count 2-1. Again, scheduled for 7. Infield drawn in on the right side here. And the 3-1 or the 2-1 pitch is low and inside for a ball. And the count now at 3 balls and 1 strike. So again, first base open after the balk. Just 1 down in the inning for the Panthers. Pastrana ready, and the 3-1 pitch swung on a grounded to the third baseman. Nice play by Cup. He'll field and throw to first base in time. Everybody has to hold. And a good play over there at third base by Kobe Cup. So 2 down here in the 4th, and brings up left fielder Mikey Thomas. Thomas 1 for 1 in the game. He walked in the 1st and singled in the 3rd, and scored Wenatchee's first run on a ground out by Seth Storley. So Thomas stepping in, and the first pitch to him is low for ball 1. Wenatchee with big success on the road against Davis yesterday, winning at 12-2. Struggling to get 2 runs in this one so far. This pitch misses low for ball 2. David Snyder at third base. Dalton Thomas at second base for Wenatchee. They've scratched 1 run in this inning. Bryce Peters coming home on a balk on the pitcher, Pastrana. Now the 2-0 pitch on the way to Thomas is a strike on the outside corner. The count goes to 2-1. We'll send you back to the station in between the doubleheaders. Got about 20-25 minutes between the 2 games, so we'll get you back to this TV station and come back for game 2. This pitch swung on a grounded to the third baseman. Cup fields it, fumbles it, then throws, and it's in time for the out. So a couple of good plays over there by third baseman Kobe Cup, and he is able to hold Wenatchee to just 1 run in the inning on 1 hit, 1 error, and 2 men left. We'll head to the 5th. Wenatchee on top of Davis, 2-0. You're watching Panther baseball on the NCAA Life. Jeffrey Edgar is a leadoff man here for Davis as we head to the top inning. First pitch is way outside for a ball. 1-0 the count to Jeffrey Edgar. He'll be followed by Zach Valencia and Henry Gargis. 8, 9, and 1 batters here due up in the 5th. And a strike taken by Edgar. On the second pitch from Eddie Hamilton, 1-1 the count. And the delivery by the right-hander misses outside for ball 2. The 2-1 pitch is swung on and missed, and way out in front of that one was Edgar, and the count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. This broadcast brought to you by Leonard Evans Used Car Superstore, where the name means a great deal. The 2-2 delivery on the way, misses low and inside, bouncing away from the catcher, Ronan Haynes, and the count runs full on Edgar at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Our broadcast also brought to you by Walkabout Grill in Wenatchee and Leavenworth. Take a walk on the wild side. And Global Car Care, Wenatchee's friendly expert auto repair specialists. This pitch taken for a strike, and strike 3 called, and gone looking is Jeffrey Edgar for the first out here of the 5th. And that would be the 4th strikeout of the game for Eddie Hamilton. And that'll bring up catcher Zach Valencia. The first pitch to Valencia is in there for a strike, taken 0-1. Valencia caught looking on a strikeout in the 3rd, 0 for 1 in the game so far. The 0-1 pitch to him misses way outside for a ball. 1-1 the count. So Wenatchee will have the rest of the weekend off after tonight. This pitch misses way outside again for ball 2, 2-1 the count. And then Tuesday, they'll host Sunnyside in a single game, then travel to Sunnyside for a twin bill next Friday. This pitch swung on and missed, and again, way out in front of that off-speed pitch was Valencia, and the count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes here. Top of the 5th, 2-0 Wenatchee on top of Davis. The 2-2 pitch misses away for ball 3. And then once we get into April, we'll have spring break, and then Eisenhower and Wenatchee will play on Tuesday, April 11th in Yakima. And then the Cadets will be here for a doubleheader on Friday, April 14th. 3-2 count to Valencia after fouling one off. He'll swing and miss and gone on the strikeout. He is Valencia. 2 strikeouts back-to-back here in the 5th, and back to the top of the order for center fielder Henry Gargas. Gargas 0 for 1. He flew out to right in the 1st and walked. Got all the way around to 3rd in the 3rd, but he just could not get him home. Pitch by Hamilton on the way to Gargas. Off speed. Misses just outside for ball 1. Two down here in the 5th for Davis. Scheduled for 7 front end of this doubleheader. The pitch is low and inside for a ball. 2-0. Interestingly, back in the 3rd, Hamilton was able to strike out the first 2 batters he faced, the 8-9 hitters, and then went to a 3-0 count and walked Gargas on 4 straight pitches. And here we are again in the 5th. And Hamilton struck out the first 2 batters he's faced and then went to a 3-ball count now on Henry Gargas. Shakes off the sign. Shakes off the sign again from his catcher Ronan Haynes. And then Gargas says, no, I need to back out of here. Reset the mechanism, so he's ready. So too is Hamilton. And the 3-0 pitch misses outside for ball 4. So something about Gargas maybe in the cranium of Mr. Hamilton out there on the mound, because 2 straight times after striking out the first 2 batters he faced, then threw a 4-pitch walk to Gargas. So a couple of walks in the ball game here for Eddie Hamilton. That'll bring up Brock Williams, and he'll square and turn the bunt. Pitch taken for a strike, says the home plate umpire. 0-1 the count to Williams. He's 0 for 2, grounded out to 3rd in the 1st. Got aboard on a throwing error by Bryce Peters in the 3rd. And the timeout taken here as head coach Jeff Zender wants to come out and have a little discussion on the mound. Give me a chance to remind you that our sports also sponsored on the NCW Life Channel by Quick Lube and Tune, Neil's Boots and Shoes, and AC Checker Taxi Cab. Thanks for supporting us here on the NCW Life Channel. Coming up, we'll have the second game of this twin bill. A little bit later on, I will take about a 20-25 minute break in between the 2 games on the NCW Life Channel. And then tomorrow, lacrosse, as the Wenatchee Valley Thunder take on the Richland Bombers here next door at the Apple Bowl. We'll have that for you live here on the NCW Life Channel at 1 o'clock. And then tomorrow night at 7 on the sports broadcast, Wenatchee Soccer taking on Sunnyside. That's back from March 17th. That'll be tomorrow night at 7 right here on the NCW Life Channel. Runner from first goes. The pitch swung on and missed, and way too high, and the catcher, Ronan Hayes, thinks better of trying to throw out to second base. So Gargas give him a stolen base. Count 0-2 on Brock Williams. And now Hamilton with the 0-2 pitch. It's a strike 3 called. Gone looking is Williams, and he ends up striking out the side here in the 5th. Head to the bottom of the 5th inning. Wenatchee on top of Davis. 2-0. You're watching Wenatchee baseball here on the NCW Life Channel. Seth Storley, Keegan Romig, and Ronan Haynes due up for the Wenatchee Panthers as they lead Davis 2-0. Appreciate you joining us here this afternoon on the NCW Live Channel. Eric Grandstrom with you. Got Dan Kuntz and Uriah Darby out there beyond the center field fence, running cameras and making sure we're making that connection back home. Tucker Wagner, our producer engineer, back in the studios. Seth Storley starts things off here in the 5th. Seth is 0 for 2 on the day. He does have an RBI and a ground out in his last at bat in the 3rd. Isaac Pastrana still on the mound here for Davis. Home plate umpire Clark Wright comes from behind home plate and has a few words of instructions for the pitcher on the mound. Evidently going to his mouth on the mound with his fingers and then not wiping them off. When it's colder, they let you go to your mouth when you're on the mound, but you have to, if you do put your hand near your mouth, you do have to wipe it off, or at least make it look like you wipe off. Pitch to the plate, swung on and chopped on the ground towards the shortstop, and fumbling it is Williams, and the throw to first not in time, got back past the first baseman, and into the dugout it goes. And so down to second will go Seth Storley. So an E6 on the play, and Storley winds up down at second base. Second error of the ball game here against the Davis Pirates. That'll bring up center fielder Keegan Romig. Romig looking for his first hit of the day. He hit into a double play on the ground to the shortstop back of the first, walked in the third. Wenatchee on top 2-0, trying to add to it here in the bottom of the fifth inning, with the leadoff man aboard now in scoring position out there at second base. And the pitch to Romig is a little high from Isaac Pastrana, 1-0 the count. Some instructions being hollered out to the diamond from the first base dugout, Davis side of the world here. Pastrana with the 1-0 pitch high over the head of the batter. And the count goes to 2-0, and Romig didn't think kindly of that. Romig's a big, tall drink of water in the right-handed batter's box. You throw high over his head, you got to really throw it high. 2-0 the count as Pastrana feeling the pressure here applied by the Wenatchee offense, with a runner out there at second base, and now Romig asking for timeouts, and catcher stands up, and Pastrana steps off the rubber. Storley regains his lead out there at the bag at second, and they're going to throw back that way, throw a little bit high, and Storley, back to the bag in time. Two 2-0 the count on Keegan Romig for the Wenatchee Panthers. So we're in the bottom of the fifth. Lead by Storley at second. And a pitch to the plate swung on. A high fly ball to the gap between center and right. And center fielder Henry Gargas comes up with it. And a nice throw back into the infield will keep Storley out there at second base. So a fly out to center for the first out here in the fifth, and that'll bring up catcher Ronan Haynes. Haynes was hit by a pitch in the second, grounded out to second in the third. So looking for his first hit of the game today, as Storley continues out there at second base with a shallow lead. Brock Williams, the shortstop, coming in behind him. And the pitch to the plate is a strike on the outside. Again, Clark Wright very consistent on that strike zone when it is, as you look at it from home, that pitch that's to the right of your screen. The pitch here low and way outside. A little bit too far right this time, and the count even at 1 ball and 1 strike. 2 runs, 4 hits, 1 error for Wenatchee. No runs, 2 hits, 2 errors now for Davis. 1-1 the count. And the pitch is a check swing, and it's a little outside, and the ball called, and the count goes to 2-1. Pastrana with the pitch, swung on a grounded right to the second baseman to his left, De Jesus. He'll throw in time to get the out. Meanwhile, running down to third base goes Storley on the play. 4-3 on the putout on Haynes. Second out here of the fifth, and that'll bring up the third baseman, Bryce Peters.
Number 5, Bryce Peters.
Peters got aboard on a base hit, infield base hit in the second. Got aboard to lead off the fourth on an error on the shortstop, and eventually came around to score on a balk while he was at third base. Pitch here to him is low and outside for ball 1. He'll turn and hold up a hand over to his teammate Storley at third base, saying, "Nah, don't go anywhere." Catcher was able to hold on to this one. Now another visit to the mound by the head coach for Davis, Brian Richardson. Richardson, Pastrana, and Valencia joins in on the conversation out there on the mound. Well, excited to bring you baseball coverage here on the NCAA Life Channel. Soccer as well throughout the spring. And lacrosse. We'll have more lacrosse coming up tomorrow. 1 o'clock as the Richland Bombers come to town to take on the Wenatchee Valley lacrosse team. I'll have that live here on the NCAA Life Channel tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Want to know the count on Bryce Peters with first base open, runner at third, and the pitch to the plate high for ball 2. Wenatchee had a really good opportunity in the second inning after Haynes got aboard, hit by a pitch. Then Huffaker came in to run for him. This pitch taken for a strike, and the count goes to 2-1 on Peters. Peters then came up and faked the bunt, pulled the bat back, and third baseman Kobe Kupp came chasing in from third base, and Peters slapped at the ball and was able to nail it off the glove for an infield single. This pitch swung on a grounded towards the shortstop, and over to his left, Brock Williams. He'll field and throw, and a tag applied off the bag by Jaden Martinez is an out recorded at first base. So Wenatchee held scoreless here in the 5th. To the 6th we go. Wenatchee 2, Davis nothing. You're watching Panther Baseball on the NCAA Life Channel. To the top of the 6th inning we go here at Wenatchee's Recreation Park. Panthers on top of the Pirates 2-0. Isaac Pastrana, Kobe Kupp, and Diego Sosa due up here in the 6th for the Pirates. 2 runs, 4 hits, 1 error for Wenatchee. No runs, 2 hits, 2 errors for Davis. That's your line score here as we head to the 6th inning of play. Pastrana stepping up has made Ben McKay's day a little busy out there at shortstop. A couple of ground ball outs so far. And the first pitch to him here from Eddie Hamilton misses low for ball 1. Pastrana, that's the first time he's let a ball go by him. He swung at the first pitch both times when he's come up in the first, then again in the third, and this he takes for a strike, and the count even at 1 ball and 1 strike. Hamilton with the 1-1 pitch to Pastrana, misses a low and away for a ball, 2-1. Got a busy sports broadcast day on Sunday here on the NCAA Life Channel. This pitch is a strike, and the count even to Pastrana at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Starting at noon, we'll have that lacrosse contest from last weekend, Lewis and Clark in Wenatchee Valley. That's at noon on Sunday. This pitch swung on a fly ball deep to left field, backing up on it, but Mikey Thomas going to have plenty of room to corral this one, and he'll make the outs. 1 out here in the 6th. That'll bring up the third baseman, Kobe Kupp. So Lewis and Clark in Wenatchee Valley Sunday on our broadcast schedule at noon. That'll be followed at 2 o'clock by Shuttle Park and Wenatchee Soccer at 2. Then at 5 at Shuttle Park and Eastmont Soccer. And we'll wrap up our sports broadcast day on the TV dial at 7 o'clock with Quincy and Wenatchee Soccer. That's all Sunday right here on the NCAA Life Channel. Kobe Kupp steps in. The first pitch swung on, and he hit it off the end of the bat, fouled up the third baseline, and the count 0-1. Kupp 1 for 2 on the day with a ground out to the shortstop in the 2nd. He singled to center in the 4th. And the 0-1 pitch to the third baseman here is a strike on the outside corner. The count goes to 0-2. So let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6 strikeouts in the game so far for Eddie Hamilton. And the 0-2 pitch to Kupp here is just a skosh outside, and the count goes to 1-2. Hamilton's next delivery, curveball, this one misses outside, so the count even on Kupp at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Diego Sosa standing on deck here for Davis. Pirates coming in with a record of 0-3, and the pitch here swung on and he lifted in the air. Long run for the center fielder for Wenatchee, sliding, can't get it as Romig has the ball stick in the turf out there. So a base hit to shallow left center. Keegan Romig was playing shading a little bit towards right, had a long run to make and tried to slip down to a knee. And there's not a lot of slippage allowed out there in the outfield because this, I mean, it is just sticky muddy out there beneath the brown and gray or brown and green mix of grass out there in center field. Still emerging from winter are the yards around North Central Washington. This pitch swung on and hit on the ground towards second, and there to field it is Dalton Thomas. He'll toss over to the bag to Storley at first in time to get the out. Meanwhile, Cup goes down to second base on the play. So 4-3 on the putout on Diego Sosa. 2 down here in the 6th, and that'll bring up first baseman Jaden Martinez.
Well, Jaden Martinez.
Martinez 1 for 2 in the day with a bloop single to center in the 2nd, and he flew out to left in the 4th. 2 down, 1 aboard, 2-0 Wenatchee on top of Davis. And the pitch to the plate, nice curveball there, is a called strike, 0-1. Clark Wright behind home plate calling balls and strikes. Sean McNair out on the base paths. Camped out there between the mound and second base right now. The 0-1 pitch to Martinez swung on and chopped off the plate right towards third baseman Bryce Peters. Has it in time, throw across the diamond in time. And that will retire Davis here in the 6th. Though they get a runner aboard on a base hit, they leave a man. We'll head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Wenatchee on top of the Pirates 2-0. You're watching Panther Baseball on the NCW Life Channel. To the bottom of the 6th inning we go. Wenatchee on top of Davis 2-0. Due up here bottom of the order for the Panthers. David Snyder, Eddie Hamilton, and Dalton Thomas for Wenatchee. 2 runs, 4 hits, 1 error for the Panthers. No runs, 3 hits, and 2 errors for Davis. Here in game 1 of 2 today here at Wenatchee's Recreation Park. Snyder 1 for 2 in the ball game, steps in. The first pitch to him is strike on the inside corner. 0-1. Snyder struck out swinging in the 2nd, had a bunt single in the 4th. And the 0-1 pitch from Pastrana on the way as he squares to bunt, bunts it foul up the third baseline, and the count 0-2. NCAA basketball tournament. Last night, Gonzaga pulled off the big win to advance to the Elite 8 and will play Xavier coming up tomorrow. Xavier knocking off Arizona. The 0-2 pitch to Snyder misses high for a ball. 1-2 the count. See if we can get some scores from some of the games happening today. They're just getting underway. Try to get an update for you. This pitch misses high for ball 2 to David Snyder. 2 balls and 2 strikes. North Carolina leading Butler 22-12. That's in the first quarter of the Sweet 16. The 2-2 pitch to Snyder swung on and lifted in the air, and that's going to be towards the second baseman. De Jesus will back up on the grass and make the catch for the outs. So a pop-up to the second baseman for the first out here, the 6th. That'll bring up pitcher Eddie Hamilton. Hamilton 0 for 2 on the day with a strikeout in the 2nd, and he grounded back to the pitcher in the 4th. Washington women also playing in the NCAA Women's Sweet 16 today. That game just about underway as well, I think, against Mississippi State. Swing and a miss here by Eddie Hamilton on the first pitch to him. 0-1 the count. So we'll see if we can dig up scores for the women's tournament as well. This pitch swung on and hit a mile-high foul down the third baseline, and third baseman over behind the dugout, reaching out for the fence. Kobe Cup will make the catch for the out. So a couple of pop-ups here for the Panthers in the 6th. 2 down, and that'll bring up second baseman Dalton Thomas. See if I can fumble with my phone to try to get some more from ESPN. This pitch swung on and grounded towards the second baseman, and again with a decent play there, De Jesus. So the story for the Panthers in the bottom of the 6th, 1-2-3. We will head to the 7th. Last chance for Davis. They trail the Panthers 2-0. You're watching Wenatchee Baseball on the NCW Life Channel. Welcome back once again here to Recreation Park as we head to the 7th inning. Gabe De Jesus, Jeffrey Edgar, and Zach Valencia do up bottom of the order for the Davis Pirates. Meanwhile, new pitcher on the mound for the Wenatchee Panthers. Thomas Blakeney now takes over on the mound. The freshman right-handed thrower will take over for Eddie Hamilton. So Hamilton goes 6, no runs, 3 hits, 6 strikeouts and 2 walks. Nice job on the mound for Eddie Hamilton, standing to get the victory in this one if Blakeney can hang on to it. 2-0 the score. Wenatchee on top. No runs, 3 hits, 2 errors for Davis. 2 runs, 4 hits, and 1 error for Wenatchee here in the ballgame. So Gabe DeJesus will start it off here. He's 0 for 2 in the ball game. He grounded back to the pitcher in the second and popped out to second in the fourth.
New pitcher for the Panthers, number 30.
Looking at some scores here from the women's tournament. They're in the second half. It is Notre Dame leading Ohio State 33-29. And end of the first, University of Washington women leading Mississippi State 20-13. So the UW women looking good so far in the Sweet 16. 3-0 the count to DeJesus, and the 3-0 pitch is across for a strike. 3-1 the count as Thomas Blakeney now takes over on the mound for Wenatchee. 3-1 pitch to DeJesus, swung on and lifted in the air to right field. Backing up is David Snyder. He'll make the catch for the out. F9 on the put out. 1 out here in the 7th. That brings up Jeffrey Edgar, who came in for Dakota Doan in his first plate appearance in the 5th, struck out looking back in the 5th inning. And the pitch by Blakeney to the plate is across for a strike in the count 0-1. So Thomas Blakeney taking over, and this curveball in there for a strike. Beautiful pitch at the count 0-2 quickly on Jeffrey Edgar. Sun creeps out from behind the clouds one more time. The 0-2 pitch misses way outside as Blakeney kind of dropped down sidearm on that pitch to the plate. 1-2 the count on the right fielder for Davis. 1-2 pitch to the plate, swung on a chop back over the mound. Shortstop Ben McKay over and fields and throws in time to Storley at first base. 6-3 on the putout. 2 outs here in the 7th. And that'll bring up the catcher, Zach Valencia. Actually, we're going to get a pinch hitter for Davis. It'll be Josh Fernandez.
Zach Valencia.
So Josh Fernandez will hit for Zach Valencia here in the 7th. Fernandez, another one of the freshmen for Davis. And a pitch to the plate by Blakeney, a little bit high for a ball. 1-0 the count. So freshman versus freshman here. This pitch is a strike on the outside corner. The count evens to Fernandez at 1 ball and 1 strike. Blakeney trying to wrap it up here for the win for Wenatchee to even their record on the season at 2-2. And speaking of which, strike 2 to Fernandez, called by home plate umpire Clark Wright. The 1-2 pitch by Blakeney on the way to the plate, swung on a chop back right to the mound on a hop, and Blakeney will field and toss to first base, and that'll do it. 1-3 on the putouts, and the Wenatchee Panthers get the victory here in Game 1, 2-0 the final. The hitting for Wenatchee in the game here today, Ben McKay goes 1 for 3 with a base hit. Mikey Thomas 1 for 2 with a run. Bryce Peters 1 for 3 in the ball game with a run. David Snyder 1 for 3 with a bunt single. That's the hitting for Wenatchee in the contest. Meanwhile, for the Davis Pirates, the hits were few and far between. Only 2 hits in the ball game. They were both by Kobe Cup in this one. As the Wenatchee Panthers get the victory, again the score 2-0. As Eddie Hamilton will get the win, going 6 innings, no runs, 3 hits, 6 strikeouts, and a couple of walks. The save to Thomas Blakeney, who pitches an inning, zeros across for Blakeney. And the loss will be handed to Isaac Pastrana. He went 6, allowed 2 runs in the game. Only one of those was earned. And that is the story for Game 1 here today. So we will take a break and come back. We'll be back on the television here in about 20 minutes or so, around 5 o'clock for Game 2 between Davis and Wenatchee. Again, our final score in Game 1 is the Wenatchee Panthers 2 and the Davis Pirates nothing. 20-minute break, and we'll be back with more here from the Rec Park on this Friday afternoon. You're watching Panther Baseball on the NCW Life Channel.
Thanks for watching high school baseball on the NCW Life Channel. Today's broadcast has been presented by Leonard Evans Used Car Superstore, Global Car Care, Wenatchee's friendly expert audio repair specialist, and the Walkabout Grill. Your source for high school sports throughout the year is the NCW Life Channel.